Do you ever struggle with haters or people that don't seem to tell the whole truth? Or maybe people that just like to poke at you and you don't understand why? I get that. I get that a lot right now. Not that I get a lot of out loud haters. I get a lot of really silent ones. So I remember when I started my companies and I started doing hair, I was always amazed because I was like, man, everybody loves me. Like, I never hear anything. Not a reality. The fact is that most people that don't like us just creep our social media profiles and chatter about us behind our backs. And I've learned a couple of things about that. One, I've decided I must be doing something right. If people are talking about me and they disagree with the way I'm doing things, then I'm obviously not doing it the way that they like, and that's okay. But I'm doing something. And quite frankly, a lot of people in this world just aren't doing anything. And I also find that the people that speak ill of me or my business practices have two things that happen. One, there's a truth. I'm gonna let that sink in for a second. There's a truth to what they're saying. They're not always wrong. And then two, there's not the whole truth. So they're not lying. Nobody intentionally goes around and says, so-and-so's an idiot because such and such. Like, that's not how rumors spread, and that's not how, for lack of a better phrase, haters hate, right? Like, that's not how that works. So let's talk about what does happen. So someone chooses to no longer work for a company. Well, they're bitter, they're resentful, they're angry because they wanted to be there. Something about them wanted this company to be the place that they could be in. And as a company owner, like, I've loved every employee that we've had. And I've screwed up big. I can't tell you that there's a single employee that I regret ever having. Did I regret hiring them? Yeah, because they weren't a good fit. And because they weren't a good fit, I had to go back and have that awkward conversation of like, hey buddy, I hired you, but like, you're not a good fit and I'm really sorry. Like, nobody likes having that conversation because it sounds a lot like you fucked up and now I have to get rid of you, peace out. But that's not ever what I mean. But you see, what I mean and what I say and what my intentions are doesn't matter because they have a story. And that story might come from their parents, and that story might come from their significant others, and that story might come from previous bosses. I don't know, and I can't fix it. So that's where the whole truth part comes in. They're not going to ever share the whole truth. So, for example, I recently found out that there was a couple someones that are discussing me when I'm not at the table, and I was really flustered. And I wasn't flustered for the reasons that they think. I was flustered because I've been to their house and I invited them to mine. And I keep telling people that they're good people, but their actions show otherwise. I'm hurt because I would never say those things about them. Ever. And so it made me think about the things that I want to come and talk about today. When you see people speaking about you, remind yourself that it's never the whole truth. When comparing yourself to social media, you can use that rule too. Like, if you're on social media and you're feeling guilty about something or you don't feel enough, it's because you're not scrolling to watch and appreciate cheer people on. You're scrolling to compare. That's a dangerous area. That's a real dangerous area, and you will never win. If you get in the ring on social media and you wind up comparing, you will always lose. And it may look like anxiety and it may look like depression, because somehow you're trying to keep up with the Joneses and the Joneses don't even know you're watching. So just keep in mind, it's not the whole truth. So let me give you an example of that. If someone says, this is a great one. So someone says that they weren't loved enough. Do you think that the ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend really intentionally walked around not loving that person? No. They just didn't know how to love that person in the way that that person needed to be loved. So the person that needed to be loved isn't lying. But at the same time, that ex may not be a bad guy. They just weren't a good fit. So keep in mind that when you're listening to these things come around and when you hear these things, that it's never the whole truth. Because there's always two truths. There's their truth and there's my truth. There's no such thing as the truth because we as people have our perception. And our perception's always going to get in the fucking way. Like, my heart and how I feel is always going to confuse some part of my perception. And I'm going to want to protect myself. My ego's going to want to say, I could never have done that. But the reality is, I probably did. Intentional or not. And as a leader and opening some companies and writing some paychecks, you officially just became the person that says, yep, I accept that I fucked it up. Yep, also screwed that up. Yep, also screwed that up. Like, you better got some broad shoulders. Otherwise, this is not the arena for you to be in. And I want to point out both Brene Brown and, I'm going to have to look him up and put him in the comments. He is a wonderful pastor. But they both talk about that the people that throw stones, they don't throw up. Does that make sense? They throw to beat you down. They throw because they think somehow that you're in the same place as they are. So at the end of the day, you want to talk shit about me and you want to be the one that hates on me, there may come comments in this video. I'll be real honest, I probably won't read them because I'm kind of a sensitive soul, so I'll have somebody else filter it. That's real true honesty. I'm too vulnerable for that shit. But if you're gonna hate on me, you better be doing the amount of work I'm doing. And I don't just mean checklist work. So this is where that one I talked about earlier is that if people are talking about you and they're saying things you don't like, there's probably a modicum of truth to it. I don't know if modicum is a word. There's a small grain of truth to it, and you better pay attention to what that is. Because what I know about it is that you probably already know it. You probably already fear it, and all they've done is just took the Band-Aid and went, and you're like, ugh, they saw it. Well, fuck yeah, they saw it. But the thing is that they're poking it because now they're mad or they're upset or they're justifying or whatever story they need to validate. It has nothing to do with you. Let me read that. Their story needs their validation. It has nothing to do with you. So just remember that that truth is a chance for you to change. That truth is a chance for you to get better. So at one point I wound up with a teammate that sent me a message this long. It was such a rough message that I literally vomited afterwards and I cried for 2 days. Yeah, I'm sensitive, but also at the same time, I didn't realize I could have hurt somebody that badly. Because my intention is never to hurt. I've successfully done it. Even with the people I still have on my team, I'm sure I've done it. Not intentionally. So give yourself a little bit of slack. Give yourself a little bit of forgiveness. But if they throw out this grain of truth and you catch wind of it, what are you going to do about it? Because if your choice is to point fingers back at them, it's just going to escalate and escalate and escalate, and it doesn't give you a chance to earn your potential. Let me say that again. If you point back and you fight back, the only thing you're going to do is play their game. And now you're in their arena. Y'all, I'm not interested in that. I got shit to do. So take that kernel of truth, take that nugget that they gave you, and what are you going to do about it? So when I say do the work, that message that person sent me made me wonder if I was crazy. And I don't mean the haha funny, I have a lot of ideas, I run a few businesses, and I like to wake up at 4 a.m. Haha, what's wrong with me? Like, I worried that I was certifiably crazy like my father. That I was abusive and I was a narcissist and that I got joy in hurting people. That's how much this message hurt me. Well, guess what? I don't trust the 6 inches between these ears. 6 inches does a whole lot of lying. So I don't trust that it's going to tell me the truth. So I found a therapist again. And I've worked through a lot. It hasn't been pretty. It's real ugly. So if you're running multiple companies, if you're running one company with a lot of employees, if you're running a high amount of money and trying to do all these things, make sure you understand that when they poke, it's a chance for you to level up. So sure, it sucks and it's going to be hard. I had a friend of mine call me and she was like, all right, so what do? We had another walkout. And I said, honestly, you're not going to like my advice, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. Take a night. Lick your wounds. Build a blanket fort. Love on your family. Make a delicious meal. Do something for yourself and ignore all of it while you cry and sob and get ugly. Because you can't just walk past it. You have to walk through it. So walk through it and you get one day. And the next day, pop that champagne, because when people walk out and when people leave you like that and when people leave scars like that, what it does is it builds you. Celebrate the new you. Celebrate your leveling up. Celebrate the next option that you get to have because someone has removed themselves from being in your way. They weren't helping you. And if you're really getting honest with yourself right now and thinking about all the people that have left you in your lifetime, you can think about all the doors that opened right afterwards. You can probably almost guarantee think about all the things that happened after it. And there's a reason for that. That's part of who you're becoming. We're watching a show. Really, it's a terrible show. Sorry guys, but it is terrible. Called Cobra Kai, but I love it. I'm eating it up. And one of the things he talks about is there's a lot of scenes about the bullies, and the bullies keep getting away with things, and the bullies keep getting away with things. And here's the thing is that when people talk shit, and when people are bullying, and when people are hating and doing these things, it's going to feel like they're screaming. It's going to feel like it's really loud. It's going to feel like they're always getting away with it. Like, how do they get away with it? They're not. The people around them know. And they either know that they're crazy, or that they know that they're lying to themselves, or the people that are around them are their tribe, which is who they should be around. But the people around them aren't your tribe. And it doesn't make them bad. It just makes them not your people. Quit making people out to be ugly just because they ain't supposed to be around you. Cheer the people on that are in other houses. Just because they're not under your roof doesn't make them bad. Just because they believe other things doesn't make them bad. If they're not hurting people and hindering their life dreams, use them like a speed bump. Learn from that kernel of truth and remind yourself every time that you might get a whisper or you might get a little clue into what they're saying about you, that it's never the whole truth. And find somebody to help you find that whole truth, because when you can look at it that way, that perception will always change. That perception will allow you to come to the next level. And here's my challenge for you. You hear something. You see something on social media that might be a dig towards you. What are you going to do to level up? What are you going to do to become the better person, the bigger person? I don't mean compared to them, because if they were in my arena, they'd be doing the things I'm doing. So I don't need to do better than them, because that would say we're on the same level and we're in the same competition, and I'm not in a race with them. I hope you heard that. What do I need to do to be better for me? So for example, I've been called out on social media before for being a terrible boss and for saying abusive things. Plain and simple. I went through some reading and I spoke with one of my mentors about it when I found out about it. And I wrote a 2-page forgiveness letter. And guess what? That woman and I had a really great conversation. I don't think she got the 2 pages. I think she got the short, condensed social media version, but it allowed healing. It made me a better person, and she's a really beautiful soul. So hurt equal to healing. Most recently, I've been poked a couple times on social media, and not flat out right. Like, I wouldn't say it's graceful, but it's also not as sneaky as it could be, right? It just means that we're gonna go start getting our services as a company done in other salons so that we can prove that we're a part of the community that we keep saying we're part of. We're going to make sure that we're doing philanthropy in other businesses as well as other nonprofits, so we show that we're part of our community. And what does that look like, and how do we plan it out, and how do we make sure we don't exclude people? So it sucks that it happens, and yeah, it kind of fucking hurts. But now I have this really cool idea that I'm super excited to go do, because I talked it through with somebody I trusted and said, look, this doesn't feel good, and I don't like the way that we're looking at it. Quite frankly, it's drama, and I'm not interested in it. So how do we create change? And we looked at the kernel of truth. I need to step up my game. We looked at the whole truth, and social media is never the whole truth. And then we looked at how we could level up. So if you have people hating on you, and you have people that are whispering sweet nothings about you in the oh so sweetest of ways, just remember, that's your task list. Look at what you can change and control. Remind yourself there's no whole truth out there, because there's always two. And thirdly, how are you going to become better for you, not for them, not in spite of them. You're not racing them. They're not in your arena. They're not even on your playing field. You uninvited them. You're not playing the same game. You don't want the same things out of life. So how are you going to level up for you? I hope this is helpful, and I hope that you can drop below what the best part of this video is for you, so you can walk away handling all those big bad uglies that you're going to get because you're successful. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe.